This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay. All right, before we jump into all the other topics, I just wanted to bring up that it's been, because I think it's kind of fascinating. You know how, like, with the blood pressure thing, and I kept mentioning it, like, oh, okay, that's my barometer for, like, you know, like, what if I'm healthy, if I'm not healthy. And it's funny because, like, I went through so many different attempts to normalize that thing, and then Tara's like, okay, it makes no sense. It must be sleep apnea, right? That's the only thing that she can think of. So it's been about, like, almost 3 weeks, I guess. And when we first tested it, like, 2 days later, I had normalized to, like, which is a normal blood pressure range, is like 120 over, I think it's like 122 over 80 or something. And then I didn't change anything. So still with the monsters, coffee and stuff. And then we tested it today. Even though I just got back from Ottawa, so I didn't have the machine for like 2 days, but I'm at 120 over 74. So it was like, that was the solution. But you know what's crazy though? So how many people have sleep apnea and then they're assuming that, like, oh, I just have high blood pressure, I'm just going to take the medicine, but they don't really think about it. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, Filipino people have high blood pressure naturally. Like, not naturally, like, obviously there's, like, diet and lifestyle,
sure.
But, like, the majority of Filipino people have high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what if it's just that? You know what I mean? We're like, oh, you know, you need to cut down on your, like, salt intake, and, like, your, obviously those things do matter, but, like, everyone was like, oh, it's your caffeine. I didn't change anything, and it's like, oh, we've normalized.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, like how many things could be solved without medicine if you just knew what the problem was?
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess also too, it's like they only test your blood pressure when you go into the like the hospital or whatever, right? Because nobody knows how to do it on their own. You can get like the yeah.
No, I was going to add, but you're saying without medicine, but technically, you're having your thing is from medicine, a tool to make the thing that you're using, right?
No, but it's just like it's just like oxygen. It's like
no. I know.
I have but not medicine in the sense of that. Because all right, would you call Theragun medicine? Because I use that to, like,
yeah, I guess you can. Like, it depends on, like, how broad of a term, because these are not things that are natural.
Yeah, totally. But what I'm saying is, like, medicine in the conventional sense of you take this, it'll bring your blood pressure down. Because that has a whole host of side effects. There's no side effects with oxygen or, like, Theragunning. You know, I'm just like,
yeah.
Because when I went to the like get my psoas fixed, and then she was Theragunning me, I'm like, I have one of these at home. Why don't I just do it?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, yeah, you could try it. And it went away, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, there's natural remedies. Maybe it's more like remedies versus medicine is what I'm trying to say. It's like you could do this series of treatments, or you could just take the medicine, you know? Which I feel is like there's so many things associated with high blood pressure medicine that you can like trigger a series of other problems.
Yeah, or more,
like side effects.
Yeah. I guess it's more like technology based too, right? At the time, there was none of these sleep apnea type technologies.
No.
Right.
And I asked even my cousin, because, like, these are so expensive, and like like, I thought insurance was 100% covered. That's what they told me on the phone. But then there's this weird loophole where they sold me all of the products, like all the refills all at once. So they're like, you don't have to come back, just do this. And then the insurance didn't pay me all of it. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And they're like, yeah, it's because you're supposed to wait till it says to get the refill. But I'm like, but that's so inefficient because then I'd have to like. But anyways, like
but everybody's got their those are policies and stuff for insurance, right? So
totally,
yeah.
Yeah, totally. But what I'm saying is, like, imagine if you had to pay out of pocket in like a third world country or like a developing nation.
Sure.
For this, because I asked my cousin like, how many people have sleep apnea there, and he's like, oh yeah, probably a lot of people. It's just expensive to buy the machine. And I was like, okay, that's fair. But then how many people have high blood pressure? And it's like it's masquerading as, like
right. So maybe it could be 1-to-1. Yeah, it could be 1-to-1, that kind of thing. Yeah, the same people that are having that could be fixed with sleep apnea. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy, right? And like, there's just so many other. There's so many other things that, like remedies that you can do, like acupuncture and like hot cold therapies, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But we just automatically default to like sick care, which is the doctor. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like if you I didn't even know this was a thing, but like naturopathic medicine is like a new thing, right? Relative to what we've known conventionally as like a doctor. But by the time you hit the doctor, it's already like, oh, it's kind of late. I need to give you this thing, right? But the whole intention of a naturopathic doctor is to not get you to that point so that you're actually just fine and you don't need to visit the doctor, right? And it's like I feel like we need to shift our perspective healthcare wise, because this has been so eye-opening for me. I'm like, that's it? That was it. Just like get some oxygen while I sleep. And then it just normalized everything. And then Tara was like, there's other things associated with this too, because if you have high blood pressure, you're triggering other things.
Yeah.
Right? In my body. That's like,
sure.
And then she's like, as it normalizes, when I retest my blood, she's like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine now. Like all like the elevated like cholesterol level and the sugar, it wasn't like crazy elevated. Like they wouldn't give me medicine for it, but she's like, oh, this is trending in the wrong direction. But it could be linked to sleep apnea, you know?
Yep.
Or really just like a chemical robotic machine. Like even with this thing now, I'm like, we're totally robots, bro. The fact that, you know, like, you know, we really have come a long way since like before the internet. Like think of the 1970s, like the phones that they had. And you're like, oh, this is like a brick, right? But now it's like so tiny and you have everything on it.
Yeah.
But we're not content though. You know, we're watching like old school Back to the Future and like, oh, I thought we'd be way further along with like flying cars and stuff. But it's like, no, but look at how far we've already come.
Yeah.
You know? Well, it's because we have this picture in our mind.
Yeah, I think it's that, or just we get habitual to what's the slow change that becomes normal, where it's like when you actually just jump 10 years, you see the big amount of actual changes.
Facts. Right. That's actually super accurate, because if you brought like an iPhone 14 back when the iPhone first came out, like the next year, you're like, dude, this is a revolutionary advancement. What are we doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's like it's the medicine drip of technology that got us like pretty damn far, but we don't see it. It's really like we have Neuralink, bro. Like they're actually doing human trials. Like, what are we doing? You would have never thought of that in the 1970s or something.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Even like Star Trek stuff, you know, like the Siri is basically the Star Trek thing. Yeah, computer. What is this? And then they'd say it. It's like, we're there, man.
Right.
But we collectively don't see it. Anyways, that was just my like pondering. Before anything else about that?
No, that's fine. I think.
No, I just want to bring up one more thing before we get into Love Is Blind. I'm so fascinated that you watched it. Dune, I watched it again, and I was slightly elevated. Not enough. I was like, I should have been a little more elevated. But when I was watching the opening scene, I was like, oh, this is Star Wars, because you said it. You're like, no, they copied off Star Wars. I'm like, what do you mean? And then you watch it. Remember the opening scene where they're chasing down the Fremen?
Yeah.
Those are literally stormtroopers, bro. It's stormtroopers.
Yeah.
They're all wearing the same.
Oh yeah, no. They said that. Yeah, I watched another video explaining like even these.
Oh really?
These soldiers with the mask and everything, they're stormtroopers.
Yeah.
They're just you have multiples of
wild.
them. Yeah.
And then they're like climb, and then they started to float up the mountain. I was like, oh, that's like literal stormtrooper. And then when they took off the mask, they all look the same. I'm like, oh, stormtroopers, bro, right? Yeah. And then the big dude was what?
Oh, Jabba?
Harkonnen?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like Jabba the Hutt, but a better Jabba.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Right? Because when you watch Star Wars, he's not like scary. You're just like, oh, okay, it's like a gangster dude, right? But when you watch this, like he's fully killing his servants. You would see they're scared of him. I'm like, oh, this is a better Jabba the Hutt. Mm-hmm. Like I'd be scared of this Jabba the Hutt, but not the other one.
Yeah.
You know? What else was there? And I was like, it's Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
The story of Timothy's character, Paul. I was like, oh, this is Anakin Skywalker. Like he's learning the ways. Yeah. And then they absorb him in, and then he's got his own troops that he's going to fight against the Republic. It's so wild. It's like but it really was like a Jesus story. When you like look at it, it's like Star Wars meets Jesus.
Yeah, it's very religious in that.
You know?
Yeah, not really spiritual.
Very religious.
Yeah, all that in there. Yeah. I know a little bit more of the story of what's to come. At least from the books, but that's like more spoilery. I don't know if I want to say too much. It's just like, I mean, it makes sense in the sense it's more about, because as I said before, it's the main is what the writer was giving off was that we have a problem with hero worship.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
that's what he was.
Like that was the whole.
That was the main message. Yes. So the Dune Messiah is showing, like Paul is seeing the incorrect ways that he went into, or something like that. Yeah. Because then the Fremen realize like they're following somebody, but like this is they don't know what the result is. Right? This is not like they're blindly following somebody. They have these stories are not real, like that kind of stuff. This is the problem with hero worship.
Yes. Like blind belief is like the enemy. Yeah, that's so true. And it's funny because like you have spirituality, right? Which is like things that have happened throughout time that are just universally true, right? Like the idea of like consciousness and a soul, right? What is this thing that's operating the machine that's talking to you right now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think therefore I am, like Descartes kind of thing. I know I'm real because I'm talking to you, right? And those are like universal, but then you take those elements and then you turn them into a religion and you start like deifying a person, which is what Dune did. And then you're like, oh, this could go wrong really badly because like actually, what is the difference between a cult and religion?
Right.
It's like, it's just text. It's like, there's no difference.
It's just the amount of people.
There actually is no difference. Yeah. No, but actually though, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's like there is no difference.
Sure, yeah. I mean, but if you look at how any of the religion would start, it starts small, so then you grow.
Yeah,
the small group it is very cultish, right?
Which is what they showed in Dune, which is crazy. She's like, let's convert the weak ones.
Yeah,
you know, and then we'll move out from there.
Exactly.
And then you get like, but then Paul knew what they were doing because I guess it's in the first movie maybe. Like he's like. He knew that the story that they were bringing was fake, but they're just going to like make it happen or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, because he found out that what does this mean by I'm the one, or what is this?
Yeah,
this is the. So I think that's when he was told the story of the.
Yes,
he found out. Yeah.
But what is like the idea of the one? That's also really trippy too, because it's like Paul is very skilled, you know, and it's like. We look at him as the crazy part is if you just saw Paul from the beginning. Actually, no. I'll give you a better example because like this is more like realistic. So if you looked at me and Wobb's trip to BC to shoot the how-to videos, you're like, "Whoa, man, they're so skilled." But that's why I liked chronologically filming like our lives and then watching them come up. You're like. It's the same thing, and it's slowly built up over time. You know what I mean? But if you just jump to now, you're like, oh, what? How did he do that?
Right.
But it's like but there's steps. Like, Paul, how did you ride the worm? You literally taught me how to ride the worm, bro. Like, how'd you become a warrior? I literally had teachers.
Yeah.
But if you jump to the now, you're like shocked.
Yes.
And that's when you don't become human anymore, because they don't see the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's how you build cults.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you're like, it's just such a far leap from where regular people are to where you are.
Mm-hmm.
But they just didn't stop growing. That's all that happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, I just kept learning and learning and learning, and now I'm here. You're like, oh, you're like a mystical warrior. It's like, I literally had 5 teachers. What do you want from me?
Right.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's something like, what is it? Like, imagine talking to like a genius PhD person, or like Einstein. You're like, oh yeah, you're smart because you went to school and you like learned this. How come it's so logical when we look at it like scientists? You're like, oh, you're a genius scientist, but we don't like deify them, But it's equally the same.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of scientists that you're like, Michio Kaku, you're like, whoa, dude, you're like Yoda. But not really. I'm not looking at you like Yoda. I'm like, oh, you're just smart.
I think because they don't play into certain tropes of what a religious leader.
Yeah, true.
Right.
True. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Like, you remember the Wim Hof thing?
Like, I think it's also not just that. It's not just that. I think it's also like they'll speak truth, the scientists or whatever, right? So, but they're not. Truth hurts, right? But if in a religious context, you're spinning the truth or spinning your version of a truth it feels good. There's something with emotion with those things.
Yeah, you're playing on people's emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, actually, right? Yeah, you're right. Because like they all religions have some sort of aspirational component, whereas a scientist is just like, this is like the scientific fact.
These are the results.
They're not trying to like make you happy.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. That's fascinating. But if we just looked at them as like regular people, then you just be like, oh yeah, that's cool, man. But I wouldn't like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, regular scientist people. But you could easily say that they're like gurus.
Yes, it can.
But we don't feel like that. But actually, you know what? You're right. The presentation, because people say Rick Rubin, the musician.
Okay.
He's a producer.
Oh,
so he's like, he has the visual look of a guru, and everyone's like, oh, he's a creative guru. But you never hear somebody say Elon Musk is a creative guru.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because Elon Musk looks like a regular person with like normal haircut. But like Rick Rubin, you look at him, he's got like a long beard, long hair.
Yes.
And then they like deify him a little bit. They're like, he's like the musical god of creativity.
Yeah. Right.
Really, it's like the optics, the presentation is what we're looking for. Yeah. Okay, speaking of which, so me and Tara went to the Nordic spa this weekend, and this is totally related. So when I first showed up, I was kind of like, I don't like spas. Like, what am I gonna do there? And we were just going through each of the zones, and I'm like, okay, this is just like a hot sauna, right? Like, so every room was like kind of hot. It had like a bit of a spiritual component. Like, there was like a tent that was super, super hot. It was like the meditation tent. But I was like, whatever. And then people were lining up for this. They call it the experience. Okay. And but I was like, all right, let's try the experience. And they're like, only 16 people can come at a time. So like, okay, you have to go early. So we went early and we got in line. We got there, and we had no idea what we were getting into, and it turned out to be a shamanistic ritual. So it was It was like I was like, oh, do you remember like Temazcal? Like, that's what we did in Peru, which is like a tiny tent, and then you pray. Every time you pray, you put water, and every time the water hits the rocks, it gets hotter and hotter in the room. And you're basically trying to like give yourself like when you're in the desert and you like are so hot, you start hallucinating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You like see the oasis, you're like, oh dude, I can go there. That's kind of what they're trying to do to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go in the room, there was like chanting, and then they would spray the water, and it was like, it turned out to be like a traditional Nordic thing. I was like, oh, this is shamanism. And Tara's like, oh yeah, it said like traditional Nordic, like hot sauna. So what you did was they'd like splash the water, and they'd have these leaves, and they would like dunk the leaves, and then they'd start spraying you with the water as they're chanting, and then like they'd make it increasingly hot. And there's one point where I like almost gave up because I was like, it's too hot, I'm gonna quit. It reminded me of my first hot yoga experience where it was so hot, like I was panicking, but I had to like, okay, mind, relax. And then she opened the door right when it was like at the apex of the heat, and then she dunked the leaves in ice water and then like put the ice water on all of us. And then she's like saying like, you know, whatever you're holding on to, release it now. You know, like all the shamanic tropes that you would expect, right? She's dancing with the thing, and like it was pretty intense. I was like, oh, this is like, I've been waiting to do one of these again, where it's like a psychedelic ritual. Like, but no, you're not taking any psychedelics. It's just like they're just jacking your endorphins up. And then she's like, at the end of this, go in the cold water for 15 seconds. So we're like, okay, cool. So we went into the cold water, and so this is the interesting part, because if you're looking at it like a scientist, because Tara takes like, she's like, you know, she understands that scientific world of what's happening to your body, and because of that, I'm like, okay, this is what's going on. I was like, you're jacking up my endorphins, and then like from the crazy hot to the cold, at the end of it, we were like so zen, right? We were, it reminded me of like a really long meditation. Like when I come out of those, I'm like, oh, I'm chill, bro. And they just did it through like shocking the body. You know what I mean? But then I started to think like, this could easily go wrong, because we knew what was going on. We're like, okay, yeah, but then what about the other people that were just like, I gotta come back. You're my new.
You could
like,
get you know
what I'm saying?
Technically intoxicated by it, right? Like in that sense.
No, but you actually are intoxicated, because they're jacking you with endorphins.
Yeah.
You know, because your body's like panicking. It's like, oh, it's too hot, and then going from hot to cold, it's like, oh, dude, what's going on? And it just shoots you with like, yeah, just endorphins.
Right.
It's like because you're like panicking the body. You're making it think it's like dying or something. So they're like giving you this experience. But then then I started to think that, well, I started to think two things. Wow, this girl could become like a cult leader. The lady that did it. Because like nobody, like, you know,
sure,
you made me feel so good.
Yeah, right.
How did that happen? I got to keep coming back to you now for that experience. You know what I mean? And the second thing was, it's weird how we've suddenly commercialized ancient rituals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a very expensive spa, a very famous spa, and I did not expect to have like a shamanic ritual there. And I was like, oh, that's weird, bro. That like, even with, you know, hallucinogens, like there's like weed stores everywhere, and then I sent you guys that photo of the mushroom store. I'm like, these used to be sacred things. You know, mushrooms are like not a party drug. They can be, but it was meant to be like a ritual, and now we're doing it for commercialization.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like how far we've come in this thing. Or like maybe it was always commercial. Maybe, you know, like maybe it's not as special as you would think. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like,
yeah, I think,
was it special or was it not special?
Now I wonder. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It could have been, again, we connect in cultures, ancient cultures, they would connect it to spiritual things, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's necessarily that, because when you make it commercial, then there's, you know, you're making money out of it, right? So it's not.
And people are just going for the fun.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not doing it for the spiritual thing that they used to use it for.
Yeah. So was it always spiritual, or was it like, you know what I mean? Is it just the narrative we told ourselves? Like, I was just looking at like a science experiment, like, oh, you're literally just hijacking my chemical system, you know? But then the narrative they put around it, which is like, you know, release all the tension you're doing, and like whatever. You could play up anything, you know, like the poisons in your body are being pushed out. You know, it's not real. You can't actually do that. But if you tell people that, then they're going to start believing it, and then they think it's this crazy experience. But maybe it's just people like tripping off of heat shock. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It depends. Like, I don't know how, like, it is now. That's how they do it, and that's how they talk about it as they perform these things, right? But I would say anciently, it would probably be used for different things. Like I know some tribes in the Amazon, they do like something with the frog poison, but that's getting them ready.
yeah.
But that's getting them ready.
The DMT?
Something. I don't know. They use it, but then it's more for them getting their mindset ready for hunting.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So there's a reason to do it, right? They were doing it for a reason.
Right.
Yeah. So this one, but they're adding things like release this demons or release whatever. Like you're doing. I don't know if those were the actual things that it was used for, right?
Right.
The other
so maybe
narratives that we're adding onto it.
Yeah. So maybe it's like the sleep apnea machine. It's like it's just something that helps you get something done.
Yeah, like a tool. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like that you're saying the hunting, right? Like, this will just make you a better hunter, bro. We've tried it. But then we glorify it now. Like or a more modern example is how they use crystal meth on the battlefield for World War II. So those soldiers, the reason why they could fight so long is the Germans were giving crystal meth to their people. But it's just like the frog thing. It's like, hey, we're about to go to war. Take this; it'll stimulate you.
Yeah, you need to be awake and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? But then now you see like the perils of commercial use of crystal meth. Like it's not a tool anymore. It's like a plaything.
Yeah.
You see like crackheads on the street, and you're like, oh, that's not good.
But yeah, but I guess things change, right? That's what's happening in society, kind of thing, right? This is today's society. This is how we are living. We're not living like it used to be, right?
True. So maybe our new things are like digital drugs, like virtual reality or something, Like there's new things that we're using.
Yeah.
Whereas those are like the ancient stuff that like, that's why they become party drugs, because we're like, yeah, it like trips me out, but I don't need to go on a hunt, so I don't need to use this as a tool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's just weird to me because it's like we do these things to our bodies and we just don't even know like why.
True.
But there's always some sort of easy, like, yeah, we're playing around with our chemical system is what I'm saying. Is like like, as it's like we are really just input output machines. And what is a shaman except for somebody that knows the correct tool to use at that time? Right? They're just like, oh, I'm feeling like this. Oh, here, take this. And you're like, oh, I feel better. It's like, that's what a shaman would do, They've been there and they're just like, oh, you might trip out if you do this. So like,
right.
Or like, I'm tired. Here's some coffee.
Yeah,
like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Right.
You're like, yeah, I use it, bro. You know what? Also, I was thinking about too, as I was at the spa, aliens, bro. Like, why else would they be here except to enjoy? Like, if they're here to dominate and destroy the earth, that's a lot of wasted enjoyment. Because I'm watching these people in like the hot springs, and like we're going to movies, we're playing video games, and like there's so much to enjoy in our reality that if I was an alien, that's why I'd come to Earth. It's like,
yeah, I think it makes sense.
You know
right?
what I'm saying?
Yeah, if like we see it in as societies advance, right? That would you'd become less. You'd more like look for things to do that are more enjoyable, right? That's generally how things flow. So if they're coming here from far distances, their technology and their society should be much more developed in that sense.
Yeah, totally. And if they are developed, okay, let's say you're so developed that you achieve a state of like, oh, these are just emotions, and like, oh, I can manage my emotions or whatever. Wouldn't you want a place where you can go back to that old time where you're like things mattered? You know what I mean? Like, if you're at that apex of the enlightened state of society, we're just like perfect peace. Like, the thing that really makes life enjoyable is the negativity. It's the interplay. It's the drama.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Right? And it's like, if I was this enlightened being state, I might want to go to a different place and like try out something new. I like, even now, That's why I want to go to like try different things like the Nordic spa thing. Not the spa aspect, but like the shaman aspect. That's like an ancient ritual, and I was like, oh, I'm down for this. Like this is cool because it's like a fun thing that like, oh, this is what they used to do. Let's see what they used to do. It's experiential.
Yeah.
So like maybe those people are like, what is the use of hot springs and like drama and video games? But then they come here and they're like, oh, I can chill out.
Mm-hmm.
I can engage in like war, love, anger. You know what I'm trying to say?
Maybe.
Like there's so much to paint our reality. Like why else would you be here? Like maybe like a water resource, but that seems so boring. If you were an advanced civilization, wouldn't you want to engage in like fun things?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you'd want to communicate with the other species.
Yeah, right. Like what's going on? Like what's happening in your world? Like we go to the Amazon. We'd be like,
yeah, we do it all the time. We still do it. Yeah.
We do, right?
Yeah.
But I wonder if it's also an inquisitive mind kind of thing, because like I genuinely find. Okay, so how do I put this? On the shoot, right? Bob was like, because how introvert I don't really like to like engage with a lot of people, keep my friend group small. But then Bob was like, if I didn't know you, I'd be like, you're really extroverted. And I'm like, well, one, that's my job, but two, I had to just find something that would entertain me in that thing, But I think a lot of people are like, they lose that. What can I find wonder in?
Right.
In this thing.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? So like, if the aliens are coming here, I think it's a specific type of alien. Because like the enlightened ones would just be like, why do I need to do that? It's like professionals, like, like office workers. They're just like, that's silly. Why would you do that?
Okay.
But then, what I'm trying to say? Like, think of like the finance person is not going to be going to like the middle of the Amazon. It's like, what? I have all the luxuries here. I can just drive my friends. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like a different type of person, which is like, oh, that's more fun than like constantly driving car and eating,
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's like there's such a limit to hedonic pleasures. It's like wonder is really infinite. Like where materialism is very short-sighted. Like how much food can you eat?
Right.
Even Waba's asked me, he's like, oh, you eat so many different places. Like, what's the best food? I'm like, honestly, mostly the cheaper ones because they're like trying to still make it good. Whereas like when you go to a fancy restaurant, you're paying for the experience, But if you use wonder, then you're never bored because like if you're just chasing material, there's a cap. It can never get any better than this food.
Sure.
It can never get,
what I
mean? You can hit the apex, but if you're like looking at life through wonder, you're always like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
It's weird when people get like jaded by stuff. Although I guess I'm jaded by conventional boring stuff. Like the spa at the beginning, I was like, what am I doing here? Because it's just a bunch of people just like hot cold,
Sure. Yeah.
All that being said, I don't think that the aliens are here to harm us. I think when I was in the hot spring, I was like, if I was an alien, I'd really just come here to chill out, bro.
Right.
Why else?
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Okay. Do we want to talk about the Love is Blind thing right now? Or we want to still go on some weird esoteric stuff? You tell me.
That's up to you. I don't know what you have on the list. So.
All right, we're going either superficial or esoteric. Let's go superficial. We'll end with esoteric.
Sure.
At least we'll make it. All right. So Love is Blind season, what was it?
6 or something?
4, 3, 6? Oh wow. Okay.
I think so.
So this is one of the shows that me and Tara like always watch because it's so toxic.
Yeah.
And it's like, right? You know what I mean? All right, at least, so you've only seen this, major spoilers. So you've only seen this season, right?
Yeah, the new one, yeah.
Okay, you know how right before, you finished it though?
Yeah, I finished it.
All right, you know how right before they go to the altar, in this season,
yeah.
he's like, I'm just gonna blow it off. Like, I can't do it. But remember Clay and AB?
Yes.
Remember that one guy who's like, I can't do it. But then Clay and AD, they actually went to the altar, and then he's like,
said,
it's
yeah,
not for
yeah,
me.
I know.
So in the beginning seasons, they never cut it off early. They all went to the altar. So it was always like, dude, are they going to say yes or no? So that's why we're so addicted, because it's like, you can make the bet. Like, I thought AD
really?
and Clay were gonna, yeah, dude, it's dark.
That's even worse.
First season. It's because you're like, oh, they're good. Dude, that's a solid in. And they'd be like, no. And you're like, what? Why'd you say no? You know? Like the Clay and AD, did you think that they were going to be together?
So again, this is the issues with social media. I knew what was going to happen.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, so it wasn't a surprise, but it was like how they set it up was really good to build you up to that. Because I know the answer, but it's like she didn't know the answer, right? AD. So she found out on the thing, and then
crazy.
But then like because before I saw that, I was watching it in a different way too, because you're watching it in the way that the show wants you to see. They're setting up the plot, basically, right? With him, his issues with his father, like parental issues, that kind of stuff. But one thing, when they were asking him, like, when they were just him talking to the camera, like why he said no, he mentioned the word finances. And that was something that was something
that's true.
I don't know where I read it, but it was all online. It was like him saying that they didn't show it on camera because the storyline is more better this way, which is like parental issues, than saying that finance was an issue. Because from his perspective, what he said was that she didn't work at all during that time. So
yes, bro. No, totally.
Because he mentioned it in the comment in the thing when he was telling the camera, but it was like, but he said himself that this was a really big issue. It was. I know this is like emotional thing is an issue, or like my parental issue, father issues, but then this is a very big issue too, the finances. But they didn't go into it. They didn't show it to us in the thing.
Yes. Okay. Here is the magical world of why these are the craziest shows ever. So what you just said is literally what happens. They create the whole story. That's why they have those cups of that you can't see, because if you can show the water levels, when they're drinking.
Oh yeah.
It makes it harder for, because I was like, why are they all using chalices? And Tara's like, oh, it's because it's harder to edit the storyline together if you know how much they've drunk, or if the liquid changes.
Yeah.
So they're literally just capturing everything, and then that's why wait for the reunion. Those are that's
what I'm waiting. Yeah.
Those are the craziest, because they start telling you what, like, they're like, that wasn't actually what happened.
I see.
They just crafted, dude. In like one of the older ones, they made you think that this couple was like trash. And then at the altar, they said yes. And then everyone online was like, oh, I can't believe they said yes, blah, blah, blah. And then at the reunion, they're like, no, they just cut out all of our good parts. They just kept all the bad stuff. So to the public, we look like a horrible couple. And it's like, why did they get together?
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
Dude, it's crazy. That's what I'm saying. It's like the ultimate social experiment, like reality TV. Because they're just messing with you, bro. Like, you know how they did the reveals? Like throughout the story.
Yeah.
So like these two people would do the reveal, and then they'd go back to the place, and then other people would do the reveal. That's not actually how it happens. They all do reveals on the same day. That's why they're all dressed nice. They know that this is the day of the reveal. But they change the order because they need to keep the viewer entertained. So they're like, okay, we'll put this person here, and then we'll leave this this reveal for later. But the way it chronologically happens is they spend like the 2 weeks together, and then on the last day they do the reveals, every single person. But the way they're cutting it, right? But the way that you're experiencing it is you're like, oh, I thought that
did
they
it
already
earlier. Right.
Yeah, but they don't do that. And also, they're filming multiple people. So these aren't the only people that actually become couples. They're just the entertaining ones.
Yeah,
so they film out.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh no, we don't.
No, because I saw that some of them. Yeah, some of them, like you saw them in the girl boots or whatever, right? But she was never on any of the story.
Yeah, and it's funny because you're like, who the hell is this person, bro? And sometimes you're just like, oh, they just like threw this person there, but they're really just capturing everything, and they're like, what's the storyline we can make for people? It's crazy. What did you think of the the Megan Fox thing that was going throughout the internet. How he's like,
yeah,
say I look like Megan Fox. That was crazy though, right?
Yeah, I think I think he went off on that. Like he focused too much on that. That was
but all right, but I feel like that's a straight up lie. It's like if I was like that, I'd be like, what else are you lying about, bro?
Sure, no. Oh yeah. No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. I don't know like how much of that's. I'm saying he focused on that. And I don't know how many times she said that. Right.
Oh right. Because he was attaching to it. But I mean, you could see on his face how excited he was.
Yeah, of course.
People say I look like Megan Fox, you know? And then he was like, what is going on here?
Sure, yeah.
And then the other girl...
Yeah, I mean, the issue was that you're not supposed to say that, so like, those sort of things, right? That was the problem. Yeah.
Do you remember the guy that was like, America's watching right now? He totally broke the fourth wall. In the beginning, he was like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, America loves an underdog story. You're not supposed to say that.
Who was that guy?
Oh, okay. He was just like, he got cut off early, but he was just basically breaking the fourth wall where it's like, you're not supposed to mention that we're all watching. Like, you're supposed to do it as if.
Right, okay.
Like, it's a new, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know that people are actually watching us. But he's actually talking about the people watching. It's like, that's a big no-no for...
Well, I guess, yeah, as an experiment, that's not going to work if you're doing that, you're doing it for clout, or like, you know that someone's watching, you're doing it for that reason. Yeah.
No, but right. But that's why The Bachelor is crazy. We haven't gotten back into it, but The Bachelor is like, it's so many seasons in that they are actually playing the game. So like, that person who's like, America's watching, he should have kept that to himself and just like done the storyline as if... Because a lot of people will do that in The Bachelor. They're I'm playing this type of person. Like I'm the girl that needs to be saved by the man, so she'll play like oh everything you're teaching me so much, but it's like a storyline that she knows will resonate with America.
Right. Okay.
You know, they literally go in with these plans because they want to become famous, and then they start selling. Like if you follow these like Love Is Blind people, they all have like, this new bed is amazing. Have you slept in this new bed? Like they're just straight ads, bro. It's crazy. Yeah. Wait, what else? Wait, what are your other takeaways from Love Is Blind?
Like, well, because this was the first season, I thought it was at least the Jimmy and the Megan Fox or Chelsea girl, right? That he broke it off. He didn't do it in the altar, which would be...
Bro,
so this is the first season I saw.
You're like, oh no, and all their families there, they storm off, and like it's so toxic. It's crazy because you really think that people are like gonna be together.
So did it change something for this season? No. Like why?
No, because they knew what they're. It's like season 6, so they all know. They don't want to have to bring their families. Like Jimmy, the whole family's there, and then everyone's filming you. So he's probably like, bro, that's going to be very traumatic.
Yeah.
Let me just cut it off here. Yeah. What did you think of the here's the other thing. The edits. So there's a thing where in Love Is Blind, usually the first couple, because Tara listens to like these podcasts where they basically deconstruct reality TV shows. The first couple they show always makes it to the end, and they're always the strongest couple. So if you watch the first seasons, it's always the first couple that they show. Remember, like they got engaged first. The ones that
yes.
So they'll always do that because they want you to like root for somebody throughout the whole journey.
Oh, so they'll interesting.
Yeah, that's why they have to do it out of order because they want to show you like the stronger ones first. There's more airtime and stuff. What did you think of the that final couple that actually got married? I was pretty cool with that.
I think I was good with that. Yeah, I felt like that was the scenario. I felt like everything.
Yeah, like they were like playing it way. If they said no, I would have been like, "Damn, bro."
But I noticed something where it's like for AD and Clay, they come from broken homes, while the other ones they come from not broken homes. So it's like in a way they have more something to go back on, like something to learn. They're learning from these sort of things. So it's like and the lessons that their parents taught them were all good. So it's like
fair. Oh, what do you think of the principal? I loved his approach. How he's just like, it's not going to work. I was like, whoa, okay. Okay. No, it's never happened before.
No, but like I think I want to know what the what the actual thing was, because I know the edits are going to be him on the phone, but it's like that's what they're trying to push, right?
That's why you have to watch the reunion, because they're like, that part was a lie. It didn't actually happen like that. And like they'll go into and they'll show you scenes that they cut out, which is crazy. Or like so you remember that the two, which would be crazy. You know the ones that broke up because they were speaking at like 5 a.m?
Oh yeah.
So the camera crew's always there. So what might happen at the reveal is they actually show you what happened, and if they like slept together, they'll have footage of that, and they'll just show you the footage. Like, so it happened in the past where they're like, I swear that didn't happen. They're like, I swear, no, it never happened, and then they'll like cue the tape and they'll play that it actually did happen. You're like, oh my god, they did sleep together, bro, but they swore that they didn't. You know what I mean?
But then if they know there's cameras there, how did they? Well,
that's what I'm saying, bro. That's why I'm like, yo, you guys are on camera. How are you not? Well, actually, this is the crazy part with Jimmy when he was like, don't bring this up right now, and he looked at the camera.
Yeah. The one,
it's like those moments.
Yes, yeah. He said that you're not supposed to say this in front of camera, but one of his friends, him and his
right. And but that's the thing. It's like, you know when you're being filmed, and you know when you're not being filmed. So like, if they catch you on camera, how can you lie? Like, why? How are you gonna lie on camera?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. But yeah, it's for fame. Because then if you can build people to like you, like I like Clay right now. I'm like, I'm going to drop a follow for that guy because he seemed really cool. But then, he's definitely going to sell me some stuff. And it's like, whatever. I don't care. But that's what they're in for.
Yeah, right? They want. Right.
All right. With the girl who Jimmy broke up with, were you not like, you're so insecure? Like everything was an attack. Like, you don't love me. It's because of this.
Yeah.
Here's like, bro, you're forcing his hand.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
She was pushing him away. You're like, just accept it, bro. Like, you're too insecure for this.
I don't know. Maybe she might have a drinking problem. I don't know.
You noticed it, right? Yeah. Remember, she's like, I had way too many of those. He's like, you were drunk right now.
Yeah.
If they ended up together, that would be crazy, though. I'd have been like, you ruined your life, bro. I'm glad they broke it off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that girl should get with the Jack dude, and then Jimmy should get with the one with the kid. Like, that would have made more sense. Or just like leave it. But I mean, like,
sure, yeah. That's what I was waiting for, that too, where it's like where the ones that they said no to, what would happen when they met? And
yeah.
Those are interesting interactions too. So
yeah. This happened in an old season. This is crazy. And like, so these two couples, this one couple, they said no at the altar because he's like, I want to propose to you like good. Like, I don't want to propose to you here. I want to like do this off screen and like make it this real thing, right? SK and Raven. And then they leave, and then at the reunion they're like, oh yeah, this is great, whatever. And then you find out that he was cheating on her for like 4 months, and then it blows up all over social media. So it's like, I just don't trust these like couples, like,
sure, yeah.
This doesn't feel real, bro. Same with Nick Lachey and his wife. We were saying that if they ever got divorced, they're probably like, this is all business. Because if they ever got divorced, they'd lose this contract. They're also in multiple other reality TV shows, but because they're like a couple, they're like,
oh, interesting. Okay.
They're like, Love is Blind. We're But imagine if the couple that's introducing you to Love is Blind got a divorce. They wouldn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that it's like contractual now. They see it as like you'd be locked in.
Yeah.
Like, this is more of a
that
business
makes sense.
partnership.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Anything else about Love is Blind?
No, it's just interesting to see how they pull out your emotions. They know how to do it with the music, with the cuts, with the edits.
I know, dude. The heartbeat ones are so funny. With like, my heart's beating so fast. And then, you're like, you can't hear that, bro. Like, but the editing is so good. But you see why we like it now, because it's so
yeah.
dude, this is crazy. But I'm always like reluctant in the beginning. I'm like, I don't really want to watch it. But then once you get into it, you're like, ooh, I gotta see.
Yeah. It's because because they don't know what the story is at first, right?
Yes.
Once they've got once they've started to get that connection and have an idea for the storyline, that's where it starts. Once the connections are done.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. But they need the beginning piece to like make you care about characters.
Yeah.
You have to you know. Yeah, I don't. We always like laugh about this, but like me and Tara, but we would never go on this show because it's like. Like who's going on this show except for like toxic people, bro? You know, I mean, I guess like the one that won.
Not necessarily. Like yeah, there might be some people. There's gonna be a mix toxic people, but there's people that think that they'll find a connection, maybe. So
that's true. Yeah. You're right. They show you also like the behind the scenes and the lead up. There's so much interviewing that goes on in this thing. Like they do like crazy psychological profiling of you. They want to know your history, like who you slept with, all those things.
Right.
Because it could be a good storyline. But they do all that before you get on the show. So you have this huge like background check. Which is kind of like evil because you're like, bro, are you like manipulating these people? Like, you know what I mean? The psychological damage that comes post this.
Yeah.
Imagine like the Megan Fox girl. Like how many people hate on her? She's already insecure from the show. You're like, oh, dude, right? And then now, imagine all the troll comments and all that. She's like, oh, dude.
Yeah. Or like the hate on the other girl, for the one that Jeremy said no to, the Asian girl. I forgot her name. Something Ann.
Oh,
Sarah Ann. The one that you said that they went.
Yeah, they went out. Yeah. I don't know people's names, but yeah. They were like staying out.
No. Like I'm seeing just like hate on her a lot on the internet.
Yeah. Oh, online? Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. See, I remember she was like crying. She's like, "I'm not here to make friends." And like now I have to deal with all this hate. It's like, dude, you're getting into this is the craziest thing.
But I don't know.
Why would you do this?
Yeah. But I don't know if I like blame her for anything. I feel like this should.
No,
like it makes sense.
I agree. Yeah, of course you're gonna shoot your shot, bro. It's like when they're like, "Oh, you're a homewrecker." It's like, no, I did love that person too. So like, I'm just gonna try. Like, I'm not trying to be your friend. Like she said, I'm trying to find the love of my life.
Yeah.
So, I'm with her on that one too. I agree with you. Yeah, but people hate her. Wild. I love that they were just like, let's just go do something else. Remember when they did like the jet ski?
Yeah.
Because there's like so much hate. But here's the crazy part too. I think that they make them talk. They're like, okay, guys, we're gonna keep you on this set for the whole day. Everybody has to speak to everybody for 20 minutes. Yeah. We gotta capture some B-roll. Like if you actually think about it, like how it was filmed, you're kind of like, oh, this is kind of ridiculous. You know, we're watching it like, oh, it's amazing, but all of these are forced interactions.
Yeah, right.
You know, those moments when they're like just the two of them talking, it's like, why would those two ever talk? But it's like you're forced to in that moment because like you have to stick here. Right. There's some other crazy ones, man. Like Temptation Island is so wild. So you have like the person you're with, and then both of you go to like the men's villa and the women's villa. And then the whole objective is all these singles come and they try and tempt your person away from you.
Okay.
and they film stuff and they show you these little clips of like, so like let's say it's wild, bro. Now you see it now, how ridiculous it can get. So like I will let's say there's something on your face and I went to go like, oh, let me just get that from your face. But they play it on mute and they go touch you and like, oh, see? They were about to make out. And you're like, what? The clips that they show of the other villa are just so like they try and frame it in the most scandalous way, even if it's not scandalous at all.
Right. Okay.
Or like the angle or something. Like it's crazy. Again, like why would people go on these shows, man? I don't understand it. Right? Like
I don't know. Yeah. But there's still a lot of people going to it, so
but there is a lot of people. It's got to be the money. The worst ones are like when you follow the people on these like random reality TV shows, and which are crazy, like the Deep Fake Love.
Okay.
Those that one's crazy, and you see that they actually didn't take off. So their social media following is still low, and you're like, you just ruined your life for nothing, bro. You have to still go to work, and those people are gonna watch that episode and be like, oh, you cheated on that other person, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's why I like the principal. The principal, because he kept calm.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude,
He didn't do anything
bro.
crazy. Yeah, yeah.
Imagine if you like went off or like cheated on her, and then all of your students know, they're gonna rip you apart when you go back to freaking work,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have to be sentient of that.
Yes, yeah.
As you're doing this thing, which I feel some people are just not.
Very much, yeah. I'm interested to see like the other, because I think they have like Love Is Blind in other countries, like Japan, or I'm just curious how they do it.
It's the dub. I can't do it. It's just like it's so weird. But
I'll watch it.
good.
And I won't watch the
good.
dub. I'll watch the in its own language. I'll just read the subtitles. But like,
Okay, yeah.
I'm just curious to know how they do it.
Yeah.
Like, is it
the
all the
culture is
same?
different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, I agree with you. Like, yeah, because they can't be like in a conservative culture. You can't be slutty. So it's like, how are they going to present this in that way?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like way more controlled. Yeah, I agree with you. That would be interesting to see. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else about that?
No, it's just they know how to do it in a way to play with your emotions. That's
masterful storytelling. Yes. Masterful. Because you're just like, and the real masterful part is that they just cut everything that they want together.
Sure.
Like, this is the crazy part. You can't actually hear what's happening in each side. So that's why their editing job is so simple. So like, if we're having this conversation and you need like both angles, so you need to cut away to the next scene and make it like, oh, they really were talking about this. But you can film one dude and then one girl, and you can make up the whole conversation because they can react totally differently.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they're not actually seeing each other.
Yeah,
so there's like a delay.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Or what other thing is crazy for those people? Tara brings it up all the time. She's like, remember that they're filming this on silent. So there's no backing track, and how awkward is everything. Right?
That's true.
Like you hear the crescendos of the music, but it's just totally silent. They're just having a conversation. So it's like, it's just hella awkward. You know?
Yes. That's true.
Or they're also not being mic'd at the wedding. So nobody can really hear those speeches. Those reactions were like, ah, ha, 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 whatever. They're like, nobody can hear it, and you're just sitting there watching and nodding along. That's got to be so awkward for everyone.
Yeah, it's
weird. Like, again, why would anybody go on this, bro? It's like, it seems so weird. I get the challenge reality TV shows, but like these ones that are just straight
that's what
toxic,
I'm saying.
Like,
yeah, it's very,
why would you do it,
very toxic at times. Yeah.
Yeah, you should delve into other ones, man. Like, some of them just get really gnarly. Like, this is a more tame one. This is crazy still. Like, Love Is Blind.
Right.
But the toxicity is like, this is what makes me think, like, what are people thinking about when I watch these shows? Like, if you really care about this to this level, like,
yeah. That's
forget about aliens, bro. Aliens don't even matter at this point.
No.
Like, crazy. All right, to bring it back to more, I guess, not ridiculousness.
Yes.
I was thinking about this because I was listening to a podcast about it. Oh, what time are we at? Just so I know. I'm like,
1 hour almost.
oh, okay, cool. So DEI, how it's like becoming a big thing. Like, even I play in the DEI space,
Sure.
like diversity, equity, inclusion. So I think that this is my prediction, and I want to see what you think. That DEI is literally just our problem right now, and then it'll eventually move back to meritocracy. Because the only reason why you have DEI issues is because you have like Caucasian people in positions of power. But if they start intermarrying and like you have mixed races and kids, it's like, who cares about your diversity at that point? You're literally like, it'll just move back to meritocracy.
Right.
And this is probably just the growing pains.
I don't think that we've had a time where it's all, mix of cultures coming together in one spot, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you agree, right? It's like,
yeah, I think it makes sense. Yeah,
just,
there's things that we have to figure out that we go through till and it should end up being hopefully as a meritocracy. Right?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the Eric Weinstein, you know who that guy is?
Mm-hmm.
Not really, kind of. Okay. So he was talking about Harvard. So he got his PhD from Harvard, but the person running Harvard is this black woman, and then they're all like she's incompetent, but that's from a meritocracy standpoint, right? But then the DEI people are like, oh, you can't take a black woman in a position of power. It's like, no, it's literally just you're incompetent, right? So they kicked her out, so she's not working as the dean anymore of Harvard or whatever that thing is. And then it made me think, like, yeah, there are certain rules that are like seem kind of dumb, like quotas. It's like we need at least like 25 black people. But it's like, what if the only 25 black people that like applied for your job are really trash, and you just hire them because of an initiative?
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense. So your business is going to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's say in the future you have like mixed race children. It's like, who cares about hiring black people in this role?
Yeah.
Just like hire the best,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You agree, right? That
Sure.
It's like,
Yeah.
because that's a huge thing that a lot of people are talking about right now in the space, and a lot of people are like, oh, you're right wing for thinking about that, you're not like inclusive. I'm like, no, it just doesn't. It's like, logically it just doesn't make sense. If you're not right for the job, why are you in the job?
Mm-hmm.
Just because your skin color, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then speaking of Eric Weinstein, I heard this right before coming on the podcast. I was like, this is pretty interesting. So string theory and like all that, like quantum physics.
Okay.
No, like you've heard of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So Eric Weinstein is pioneering this thing called the theory of everything. And I've heard him talk about it on Joe Rogan before, but I'm like, dude, this is the way he was explaining it is like, what are you saying? But then on Piers Morgan, I actually cut it up and put it on social media, and he explains what his theory of everything is. And I'm like, that actually makes way more sense, but maybe you disagree. I'll see what you think. So Einstein set the framework for how we live, which is a 4D reality,
mm-hmm.
right? Which is what are the 3 dimensions plus time?
Plus time, yeah.
Right? And what he's saying, what Eric Weinstein is saying, he's like, it's a at least 14 dimensional world. So the reason why, let me try and bring up his analogy. So if you're playing music on a what do you like, those old school
records?
Record, thank you. If you're playing a record, right? You don't see the music. You're not hearing the music unless you put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
We need to put it on the thing and play it, right? So he's saying that is how we experience life. So the 4 dimensions that Einstein laid out are like us playing the record.
Mm-hmm.
But there's actually way more to our reality than the 4 dimensions. We're just experiencing it in 4 dimensions. Like we're playing back our reality in 4 dimensions. Like the record playing on the thing.
Yeah.
But if you take those apart and you look at, yourself in the room and like yourself watching the thing, you don't actually hear the music until you put them all together.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So he's saying that he believes that our reality, he hypothesized, not a belief, he's like has the theory laid out that we're living in a 14-dimensional world, and that's why we're seeing paradoxes that make no sense within the quantum world. Like how can an atom be here and here at the same time? But that's because we're trying to fit that theory within a 4-dimensional reality.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying that if we can expand the dimensions of our reality, we can solve all these problems. Like he was saying Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah.
Like if there's a box and the cat isn't dead or alive,
mm-hmm.
you won't know until you see the cat, right? That's a 4D reality thing.
Yeah.
But it can be alive and dead if you're doing multi-dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
And what that made me think of is like choice. You know how they say like if you look at a Marvel movie
mm-hmm.
and then you're like, if we just branched off here, it would have been here.
Yeah.
Like if you went left instead of right.
Sure.
Right? But those two realities are happening simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
We just haven't we're experiencing one over the other given the choice we make.
Yeah.
In an alternate reality, you weren't my neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
And in this reality, you were my neighbor. But those realities are happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if that's true, wait, is there anything? Yeah,
No,
fully
no.
makes sense, right?
Sure.
It's just choices and pathways that are like being experienced. That reality is just as real as this reality. It's just we're not experiencing that one because we chose this one, right? Which is interesting because then it makes you wonder about like determinism then. Because remember, we're so determined, like cause and effect, but maybe choices are real because of multidimensional theory.
Could be, yeah. But then it's a fraction of so many things, right? We have to see how that fits into.
No, totally. Yeah. Like we don't know yet. That's a theory. That's why it's a theory, you know. Because I like the strongest one that makes sense to both of us is determinism, right? Cause and effect. But that could literally just be a 4D theory. It works because we're living in 4D space.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
But if we find out that a reality is actually multidimensional, then that actually gets thrown out the window. It's more like these are all the determined factors in this reality, then this reality, then this reality, in an infinite series of realities. It's almost like a kaleidoscope if you try and think of it in your mind. Like it's just they're fractaling off, you know? They're all the same fractal at the end of the day, but it's like fractals on fractals on fractals. Right? Like a neural net almost, like in synapses.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to visualize it. What does it look like, you know? So if that's true, that actually fits the UAP hypothesis. Because when people are saying that these are interdimensional beings, you're like, what are you? Sorry, Athena, it's going off. If these are interdimensional beings, like it actually makes sense that they're able to jump into a different alternate reality.
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of people are saying. They're like, they're interdimensional. I'm like, what does that even mean? But then if you put the theory of everything where it's like, we're only experiencing this level of reality on four dimensions, but there's multi-dimensions. So it's like, okay, maybe they are jumping into our time. They've figured out a way to jump into our time and jump out of it.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I'm thinking, that could be one thing. Or it's like they may be doing something on their own planet, jumping, but it's like, you know how where two particles are at the same place or do two different places at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe that's maybe they don't know that they're reaching this reality at the same time.
Oh, that's super interesting. I didn't even think about that. Okay, I get what you're saying. It's like, we'll take the atom bomb, because what they're saying is that when we exploded the atom bomb, that's when. So funny. It's almost like Athena doesn't want us to have this conversation. She's like, you guys are hitting onto the truth about reality. Stop talking, you know. But because that was weird timing, right? As soon as it started, so actually, that's so fascinating because they say that UAP stuff really picked up when we launched the atom bomb, when we like detonated it. But what other theorists are saying is that for us, we experienced a blast, but you've actually exploded something on multiple dimensions. So just like you're saying that, like with the two particles appearing at independently but are connected, which is quantum physics, and they don't know how it works. What if what they're doing is inadvertently affecting our reality? That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Which is actually what we think happened with the atom bomb, because they're like, it was such a huge explosion, and that's when UAP stuff picked up. Because they probably got a signal like, well, what is happening over there? And like, what is this thing? So like, if we go into their reality, like, what if we're sharing this Earth on multiple dimensions, but then when we exploded the bomb, it blew up their building?
Right.
And they're like, why the frig did this building blow up?
Yeah. Right.
And now they're jumping to our dimension, being like, if you detonate more of those are going to blow up because we're sharing the space, but on different dimensions. Like they went left, we went right.
Right.
But it's the same Earth.
Yeah.
Dude, that's trippy. Okay. It's trippy because that's exactly what David Grush said. What we just talked about. That's what he said. He read that in a paper, but it's not. It didn't click until I saw the theory of everything, and then you mentioned that two places at once. So now it's like in my mind, I'm like, oh, that actually explains what he was trying to say in front of Congress. But I was like, what are you talking about? Multidimensional.
Right. Okay.
But really though, maybe we accidentally destroyed something on their side, and now they're just like checking us out, and that's why they keep jumping to. I mean, it's a theory. Like we don't know if it's true or not.
Sure.
But like, if the theory of everything's true, which is like multiple dimensions all happening simultaneously, maybe there are certain things that we can do that trigger other things in other dimensions happening on this Earth. How trippy would it be if? Okay, this is wild. So, do you remember the airliner? I don't know if this is true or not. A lot of people saying it's true. I haven't looked into it. Remember the airliner where it disappeared, like the Malaysian Airlines, and they can't find the plane?
Yes, I remember that one.
Right, and like it's just disappeared. And they're like, wait, what happened? And we're just like, it probably just like crashed in the ocean. So there was this video. There's this guy who's been obsessed with that airline thing, and he has a whole YouTube channel, and he shows how there was like this footage of like orbs floating around the front of the plane, and then the plane disappeared into an alternate. Like it just disappeared. So what if it was jumping into that reality? And
okay, yeah.
What do you think?
No, I thought they found the wing.
Oh, okay. You're searching if they found the wing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't know.
Because I watched because they have a Netflix had a doc about that plane. I think.
Okay.
If that's the same one we're talking about. Like many years later, they did end up finding the wing. It was not where they thought it would be.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Right. Well, let's debunk then.
Something like that.
Okay, well, let's use that as like an analogy for what we're trying to describe here. So what if you can jump through these like interdimensional portals where like in the blink of an eye our entire world could just shift in, like if you just jumped in through that portal, all of a sudden just different buildings. But it's the same Earth, different buildings.
Right.
Is there a movie like that? Because I would love to watch that movie.
If I don't know, it seems like there is, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But
it's almost like sliding doors that but that's not even like, that's not scientific. It's just, remember with Gwyneth Paltrow, she like misses the train and then it shows two different lives.
Oh yeah,
she could have lived if she missed the train or didn't miss the train. And then they converge to this one point where they meet again.
Yeah.
And it's almost like that is that what's happening right now?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess we'll wait for the geniuses to tell us what's going on. Okay. Last thing, and I want to see your like. I'm curious to see if I can sway you on this one.
Yeah.
So, how am I gonna put this? Do you believe UAPs are real?
UAPs are real, yeah.
Oh, you do? You believe that they're real?
As an unidentified flying object?
Like the Tic Tac and all that? You believe that they're seeing it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, never mind. Then this won't go anywhere. Okay, well, my thing for, let's say you don't believe that. Okay, so you believe that the UAP, like all the footage, because like you have all the technology, bro. Like we're both on the same page. Like you have the IR, you have friggin' visual like identification. Like, how much more do you need? Okay. So if you don't believe the UAPs are real, I thought you were going to be like, no, like, whatever. So let's say we're talking to somebody who doesn't believe they're real. So my question would be, do you believe in black holes? Because you've never seen it. Or like a cell. But we I think I heard this on a podcast where like Mary Curie, or so the person who isotopes like radiation.
Okay. Yeah,
Marie
yeah.
Curie or something.
Someone found out. Yeah. Some scientist. Yeah.
So she needed like 0.0001 grams of that thing to like win the Nobel Prize, saying that these radioisotopes will affect us, something like that. That's such a small amount compared to the amount of evidence we have about UAPs. But we won't acknowledge UAPs publicly. Well, they've publicly acknowledged them, like the government has, but no, it's not like commonly accepted. Like I can find so many people like, that's just dust, dust on the whatever. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know.
And that's because of stigma. It's like
sure,
the level of scrutiny is much less for like other scientific things than it is for UAPs, even though we have way more overwhelming evidence of these things. Like even Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? He's like, oh, I'm sure it's just a machine error or something. He like refuses to acknowledge UAPs. Maybe he's being paid by like the propaganda machine, but it's just weird to me that like
I don't think he's being paid. I just think that he needs
like very
he needs more evidence in that sense of actual things.
Okay, totally. So then there's Michio Kaku, right? Who's like, the evidence is there, and the probability is so high. There's something going on with UAPs. Michio Kaku, like a renowned scientist, is acknowledging that this is here, and we need to figure out what's going on with aliens.
Sure.
Right? How many more experts do you need? Because I'm listening to a podcast right now called Merge Podcast, and basically he's an ex-fighter pilot who saw these things on the daily. I remember I told you like he would like fly out and then he'd see them, he'd come back from his mission and then he'd still see them. Like,
right.
We're seeing hundreds of these all the time, right? So he started a podcast and was tackling the UAP stuff through aviation safety. Because if you make it like a safety protocol, you have to look into it.
Yeah.
Right. Versus like it's something tangible.
Sure.
Right? So he's having tons of experts come on and talk about their experiences and be like, yeah, I almost hit this. Yeah, I see them on the daily. This is what happened to me. And they're not like randos. They're all high level scientists, high level pilots. So my question is, how much more evidence do we need before everyone fully acknowledges that there's something going on that we have no idea about? And we're not the center of the universe.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like, was it Galileo who said like the sun is at the center, not Earth?
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
well,
how much more
in Western textbooks.
Oh, but they knew before.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, totally. So like how much more do we need to push this envelope? Or maybe we're going through it right now, which is like was it Copernican revolution or something? We're not the center of.
Yeah,
at the title.
I think so. Yeah.
So some revolution. That's why they called the documentary UFO Revolution, to mirror that. It's like the Copernican revolution. Like we're not at the center, and there's something else going on. And I think we're about to fully open that door and be like, yeah, guys, we're not at the center, and there are these multidimensional beings. We don't know what they are. Like I really feel that because you can't have all these geniuses say that this is going on.
Sure. Yeah.
And still make it like, no, they're crazy. Like you're going to tell Michio Kaku he's crazy. Let's just throw out all of the stuff he's been working on if he's crazy.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. You agree, disagree?
Yeah, I agree.
You see that too, right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
Like, how can they all be crazy? Yeah. So do you think, like, in the podcast I'm listening to, like, 2024, we're going to hear some craziness?
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, that hopefully.
Yeah, well, definitely.
That's the main thing.
Do you think it would shatter our world?
We kept talking about this before too. I think I might. I don't know. It depends. It depends. It could.
Okay, but yeah, it definitely could. But then the question becomes: did the Copernican revolution shatter our world?
When I say shatter, again, it will change. Like when that happened, I don't know how much of an impact that has on society, right? At the time. But there could have been something for a short period of time. Because then we have to go back to our lives.
It's like the shock. Yeah, totally. I get what you're saying. Yeah, they've been here. Like, if the UAPs have been here for thousands of years, it's like, dude, we can't do anything about it. Go back to work.
It's more like, yeah, it might shock. It might change some things. Maybe a couple of years. I don't know, like the time span. But like, then eventually it's like, it depends. Like, if it's been going on since we've been here, like nothing's really changed in our lives.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. So then we'll just go back to the status quo. It's like, yep, we've acknowledged that. Yeah. Do you think it'll like kill organized religion, or it'll make? You know what it'll do?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
True, I agree with you. But you know what it'll do? It'll scare the crap out of people like me who thought that ghosts weren't real. Because I grew up Catholic, and you're like, dude,
it
demons,
might
devil, ghost. You're like, oh, dude. And then I go through science. I'm like, no, that's in my head.
Yeah,
bro.
I think.
And now we're like,
I think that's the thing. Like, I think people may become more spiritual in that sense, like what was real from back in the day. These books.
Yes, which is the like the that's what Tom DeLonge said, where it's like UAPs are the joining point between like science and spirituality, because that's like where we're just like, what is this thing? And having like tried to delete ghosts and demons from my mind through like science,
sure.
There's psychology and stuff, like we're chemical beings. But then now it's like, maybe there are interdimensional beings and there are demons and ghosts. But like, we call them demons and ghosts, but they're not really.
Maybe it's like that, where it's just not what we thought. They're just other beings, not demons in that sense.
But it's still happening. Like for example, like, so Skinwalker Ranch is this place for paranormal activity, and it's been identified by the Pentagon. Like, I read a book on it, and like, people go there and a bunch of things will happen. That's where the trickster entity lives. Like a lot of weird stuff. Like, so you'll put your keys down over here, and then you're like, oh dude, where'd my keys go? And then they'll like appear on a bookshelf, and you're like, what just happened?
Right.
So like in that location, they call it the trickster entity because it's always playing tricks on you, like that. So like, what if like we're like, oh, it's a ghost or a demon? And what's crazy too is they say like the entity can follow you home. So maybe that's what like exorcisms are and like all that demonic stuff. But then you go into their reality, and it's just a bunch of kids who are playing this game. Like, oh look, we can mess with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it would take away that. Like, it would acknowledge that it's real, but then like, what is going on? And like,
I think with knowledge, I think fear goes away with that.
That's true. Yeah. Well, but what if you found out that they are? All right. Let's say you found out that we are running this, like, knowledge. So let's say you found out that we're running this simulation, and God is real, and He's like, all the people that do good things will, come to heaven with me, and then the people doing bad things will just die. Like, wouldn't you be scared of like the alternate? Like, what would knowledge of that situation make you less afraid or more afraid?
No, I think that wouldn't make you more afraid.
You'd be like, dude, hell? What?
No, that gives you the answer. Oh, it's like, okay, so this which is the religion to follow? Yeah, so now you've proven that God exists.
Yeah, that's true.
But then the question is like, okay, which religion though?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's fair. It would make the game too easy, because then it's just like, okay, I just have to do all these things and then I can go here.
Yeah. That's what it is for a lot of people anyways, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The ones that believe.
That's true. It would be really trippy to find out we're running a sim. Like a video game sim. Or even a test or a trial.
Sure.
But then wouldn't you eventually hit the point where you're like, well, then who created God? Like, who created us? God. Okay, who created God?
Exactly. Yeah. But that's why that I don't think that's ever going to happen, because of that dilemma. Like, who created him then? Yeah. or
But I think
her.
totally,
Whatever
totally.
it is.
Yeah, totally. But I wonder if the ultimate reality is that God is the universe. Like Joe Rogan said that recently. I'm like, oh yeah, that's been talked about in spirituality. He's like, I've been playing with this idea that maybe the universe is God.
Mhm.
Because like we're made in his image and like omnipotent. It's like, well, those are all universal. It's like you're basically describing the universe. And it's like that seems like the only answer that trumps all answers. Like if you're like, oh, Krishna was real, well, who created Krishna? The universe. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you can't Occam's razor. You can't go past the universe is God,
Mhm.
or can you? I don't know. Like I'm saying, no. That's like the
I get that, but I don't know if it depends who created the universe. It goes back to that.
well. What if the universe was? What if it's like this? Like because of our 4D reality of like time, we think of start and stop.
Sure.
What if they're like there is no such thing as time? Nothing created the universe.
Mhm.
There's nothing before the universe.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I understand that. Yeah.
It's like it's the only reason why we're asking about start and stop is because we're perceiving the 4D reality. But just like the theory of everything, what if there's multiple dimensions? There is no stop start. Time, temporal reality is just a figment of our imagination.
Yeah. These things. I'm thinking about this. I was watching other Japanese shows and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Language is what makes our thinking, right?
Yeah. Yes. No, 100%. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that's what Arrival was really talking about as well.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we think, I don't know if it's necessarily all languages, but there are, especially in English, there is this words of stop and start. And you know what I mean? Like there's different context to how we use our things. So like whenever we don't, like in some languages, you won't say bye, you'll say I'll be back. Like there's no word as bye.
Right. Yes.
But there's a different meaning if you're saying I'll be back.
Yes. Oh, that's fascinating. You're right. It's context.
Mm-hmm.
Language creates the context, and maybe we're only perceiving things in this way because that's the context we're giving ourselves.
Yes.
Oh, dude. Wait, hold on. This goes back to the Bible. Because remember when I finished, it was like, oh, in the beginning was the Word,
mm-hmm.
and it's like, if you look at that as an allegory, like that's actually the I'm pretty sure that's like the opening line of the Bible, which is like in the beginning there was the Word. But if that's true, I'll have to check it. Then that makes sense because the Word is what gave us context to our reality.
Mm-hmm.
We created our reality the moment we created words.
Yeah.
Because before words, we're in our reality.
Yeah.
But then we're like, words created the identification state, right? It's like dog, computer.
Mm-hmm.
Like these all, if you didn't have a word for it, you'd be like,
yeah.
You know, it's
exactly.
just existing.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, you know.
Ooh, that's trippy, bro.
If you don't have the word called individuality, and you
only
had
one.
Yeah, if you only had the word collective, that's the only way you can think. You can't think individual because there's no word.
Oh, that is trippy. That's trippy, actually. Yeah. Because it's words that created the separation from non-separation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, what if that's the answer? But I just hit it on the head because, like, you know, like yogis say, like there is non-separation within separation, or it's like apparent separation within non-separation.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? But it's like the language created that. It's like yours, mine, you, me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we automatically separate ourselves.
Yes.
Just because we created words.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Bible says, in the beginning there was the Word.
Right.
Because words created our reality.
Yes.
Dude, that's so trippy to think about.
And if you think about it, we're living in an English reality. English world reality.
Yes.
Right, as majority of the population of the world speaks English.
Yes.
Or can speak English, so.
Okay. I was watching this interview with the Dune director, and like this is totally related to that. The host, I think it was like Stephen Colbert, he didn't understand what he was saying. So he's like, the director was saying how we create our own language through this thing, and you would hear Zendaya say like, you're crazy. That's how it was translated right on screen. But what they were actually saying was, you're drinking sand. Right? Because that's what a crazy person would do.
Yeah.
Instead of drinking water, you're drinking sand. So it's like, to her, she's like, you're drinking sand. But to us, we're like, you're crazy. It's totally different meanings. Like, when you say you're crazy, I'm like, what does that mean? That's so arbitrary. But if you're like, you're drinking sand, I'm like, oh, I got it. Like, who would do that? Why are you doing that?
Yeah,
What's wrong with you? Like, all of these other things. So it's like, that's a small example of context, or like words create the context and they fill in more. You know, because crazy is so arbitrary. It's like, that could mean anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like, you're drinking sand so specific, and I have like emotions that come out when I hear you're drinking sand. But to go back to it, it's like, we live in a Western world, and like crazy is a Western term. Right?
Yes.
But like, what other...
Yeah, I mean, like, there's all the things that we do in, like... I see it when, like, in Bollywood movies or things like that. Like, whenever they talk about someone coming to like Canada or whatever, it's like certain words we use. Like, it's the same word can mean different things, right?
Oh, interesting. Okay.
No, like we like in English, right? Like oh shit, or like, you know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Oh,
like, it's like
yeah.
there's different meanings for the same word.
So
how do we understand?
Like oh shit, oh shit. Oh shit! Like it's the
so
intonation.
Many, yeah.
That's true too. Wow. Yeah, we really don't even think about the power of our words. So people say it all the time, words matter. And I've heard this, like, it was kind of jokingly. They meant it, but I was like, oh, that's like kind of a joke. This rapper was saying like, it's called spelling because you put a spell on people. And I was like, oh, that's clever. But then now if I think about it, like, that's actually true. It's not just clever. It's like, you are literally like casting a spell on other people because it makes you feel a certain way. Wow, language is like so powerful. We just take it for granted because we're all talking in that way.
Yeah.
It's like the dog who had the existential crisis. I don't know if that's true, but they taught the dog how to like speak using like pads. So it would hit something, it would like create a word. And the dog asked, why dog? So he's like, why my dog?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, damn, we're creating like this whole existential dilemma for the dog because now he's able to emote his feeling. Or like communicate his feeling.
Yeah. Right.
Like, I don't know, that could just be like social media.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. But
like,
the point is
true,
yeah.
Like, bro, words are, in the beginning was the word, bro. The Bible was right. Yeah. All right, trippy. That's a good ender. Any other things to that?
No, that was the thing that I kind of figured out this weekend.
Yeah, no, that's a mind blow. Well, there's been a bunch of mind blows in this podcast. Like thinking about the two realities simultaneously. Like, I never thought about this. I'm like, oh yeah, that explains a lot of what they're trying to say. Okay, wait, hold on. You know what we're missing in society? And we... Okay, here. What time is it?
Hour 30. We'll wrap it up.
Okay. Yeah. All right, last thing. All right, check this out. So I posted a video, an old video I made of myself. Okay. Where it's just a highlight reel of things I've done. But it's not up to date. I was just like on YouTube. I uploaded the new video of like me and Wobb's adventure. And I saw that video come up and I was like, oh, let me watch this. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's, I had done those things. But we don't realize why we do things until we go back and then, all right, how do I explain this? It's like you were onto something and you just fulfilled it out. Okay. So me watching that video, I was like, oh, that's how I got here. Or like, that's something important I shouldn't forget. Or like,
Right.
yeah, I can do those things, right? Okay. So check this out. What is the one thing we're missing in society right now? And it's being stifled and like being stomped out through cancel culture.
What history? I don't understand. What?
The Socratic method.
Oh, okay.
But think about Socratic gamers, bro. Again, it's like, why did we name it that? And you're just like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like in that moment, like there's something there. It's like there was a truth that we were trying to hold on to, and so we named it that. But then, like, you forget. We just take this for granted. It's like, yeah, we should do this every week. We just like chat, whatever. And then, but through this podcast, I was illuminated to two really deep things, which is like language and alternative realities, just by talking to you, which is like dialectic, the Socratic method, which is like, why? We're just asking each other why back and forth. And like through this conversation of why, we're able to like illuminate ourselves to ideas, right? But we're being stifled in that now because it's like you can't say certain things. Watch out what you say.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's trippy because we literally just talked about the power of words. And if you're canceling words, are you canceling like true inspiration?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And is that the means to control a populace?
Yes, you're affecting freedom.
Yeah, it's like 1984 stuff. You're like, if I just control the way people think, I can control society. But for real though, if you, and I think that what is great about it's like people are like, oh, like I want to hit 1 billion views. Okay, but if you hit that 1 billion views, you have to self-censor. You and I could say whatever we want, right? Well, to a degree. We can't say like everything.
Sure.
But we can say certain things because our audience isn't that big. But as soon as you like beware the gates that you open. You know what I mean? Like everyone's like, I want to be famous. And as soon as you open that gate, it's like there's no coming back, bro.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that you have to mitigate from that. You know? Like with the spa, we were driving back and I was like, oh, I wonder like what, because I'm sure like Timothy from Dune and Zendaya have gone to these spas, and Jared's like, no, they've never gone to these spas. I'm like, what do you mean? Like they're too famous. Like maybe when they were like less famous, but now they could never go to the spas because then you'd be like filmed all the time because you bring your phone. So like I would just film them and like catch them doing something dumb, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like a golden. It's like a golden cage, bro. You're like a bird in a cage made of gold.
Yeah.
Right? but it's almost like we feel like they're trying to do this to society now, which is like, why can't we talk about anything?
Yeah, that's like sometimes you don't know what you're trying to fix, and you think that this is the thing to fix it, but it's not.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like they had good intentions.
Yeah.
But the road to hell is paved with good intentions, though.
It can happen, yes.
Right? But it is trippy, though, right? Socratic gamers, this is like how you cure things.
Yeah.
By like mental things. Obviously not like physical things. But like, this is how a society progresses. That's why like Socrates was killed. Aristotle taught Alexander the Great, so that's cool. But like Plato, I think he was killed too. Maybe I don't know
about Plato. I don't remember that, but I know Socrates. Aristotle was killed because he was the teacher to Alexander. So they thought his teachings corrupted Alexander.
Wow. See, there you go.
I think if I'm correct,
it's the mind virus.
Yeah,
but it's the mind virus. It's like we just don't want you to have authentic ideas, or we'll label you and like ridicule you and stuff. Yeah, 1984, man. You got to police the mind. That's what the thought police is, right?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. With that, next week potentially no podcast because you're going to Hawaii. Uh, advance 1 year happy anniversary. Is that where you're going?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I came up with my phone. I was like, oh, that's why. Cool. How long are you're gone from the and
Sunday
you love
to
Hawaii too.
yeah. So it's been a while, almost maybe more than 10 years now. So
Damn.
so
Okay, so
it's
that's
time
why
to see.
True.
Time to see it again.
What has happened?
Yeah, exactly.
I really want to find out about your trip and like the homelessness. Like, keep an eye out because I want to go to Hawaii. I've never been, but it's one of the top places I want to go. But if you say it's trash, I'm like, ooh, I don't want to go there. But yeah, go ahead. So you're saying?
But I'm only going to one area, so I was looking at other areas, but it's pretty expensive. Like,
well, where are you going?
The Waikiki area, which is or Honolulu. That's the That's like that's like the major one. But there's different islands you can go to. So
is that where the fire was?
No, fire was in Maui.
Oh, Maui. Yeah.
Okay. So Maui's another good island too, but where I'm going is the only island. Well, at least this is what I learned when I went last time. Was the only island with like what do you call it? Skyscrapers.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. Oh, so it's like a city.
Yeah.
Is it their main city?
It's the main city. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Let me know. Let me know how that goes. Well, you will definitely let us know how it goes. How long are you gone? Just so I can.
It's Sunday to Monday. Monday I'm back, so it'll be.
Oh, so potentially 2 weeks with no podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Have a great time. I'm stoked to hear about it because I want to go. So, oh wait, are you doing anything crazy? Are you doing like skydiving or just like going to?
No. I'm looking at other things to book, but no, just general stuff.
Is that where the observatory is and stuff, or no?
Observatory for? Oh no, that's not on that. It's not on that island. No, that's on a different island. I forgot which island that is. But I'm not going to the volcano island either. That's a big island. That is a good one to see, but it's currently right now everything's expensive, right? So.
Okay. I think Honolulu's where the dude that I want to take a class from lives. Jiu-jitsu guy. So yeah, I'm very interested to see what your experience is. Is there an Apple store? That'd be kind of cool. Say what
they probably have. I don't know if they have like I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, safe travel, safe flight, and have fun.
Yeah.
All right. Till potentially 2 weeks. Take easy, fish.
Peace.
Bye. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, fish.
Peace.